Anything from the macro world or UK small caps?
Okay, yeah. Just as the world was getting used to the idea that oil prices were going up again and hitting all the headlines, they've fallen 6% in the last 2 days. I think that's on fear of the impending recession happened. Financial conditions basically continuing to tighten. We've got higher bond yields, US 10 years now pushing up to 5%. I think Jamie Dimon said something about having to get used to 7%, which spooked people yesterday. All this means that the dollar is just continuing to rise relentlessly. The DXY is at 107, so that's up 7% since mid-July, pretty well on a up every day, just a small increment. So it's been just remarkable how relentless that move has been. This just means that the non-developed world markets, the rest of the world basically, is under increasing pressure as dollar-denominated debt repayments increase and the world is increasingly short of dollars. So it becomes a bit circular.
There's no sign that the US political turmoil or their inability to sort out government funding on anything longer than a sort of 45-day basis, that hasn't impacted the dollar or sentiment at all?
No, it doesn't seem to have done. If anything, I think it's probably made it worse. I think everywhere in these sort of conditions, spending plans for everybody, whether you're an individual, a business or a government, these spending plans are now under review. HS2 is not an isolated case, but I think as this setup continues, ultimately it will impact the US economy and make a soft landing more difficult.
Yeah.
So to that end, we get US PMI data later today and non-farm payroll data on Friday, which I think are going to be keenly watched as ever. Also, probably now because of, whatever happens to the rest of the world, the Fed is focused exclusively on the US economy. So we need to see signs of things breaking there before they do anything on policy rates. And of course, the problem on cutting policy rates is history tells us policy rates aren't just lowered in increments. They panic, they put the brakes on, and then investors get spooked because they just want to know what they don't know. I think that's the world we're in at the moment, and it doesn't look like there's an easy way out of this.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Thank you. And you can use?
The thing I looked at this morning was Spirent. I think Spirent's it's a good quality business. It's involved in providing testing equipment for people who are in the networking world, so big telco companies. They've had their second profits warning in year to date. Shares are down 2/3 over the year now, down sharply today. But it's a good business. It's a world-class business. And I think what they're clearly reflecting rollout delays on 5G. CapEx spending is tougher in this environment. And the hyperscalers, which they do business with, are more focused on developing AI than spending on networking hardware. So there's just a slowdown here. Their orders have always been lumpy and it's tough for them. I think that's a bit of a bellwether in terms of what's going on in the tech space. Interestingly, tucked away in what they were saying in their announcement today, it mentioned that the direct-to-device satellite market is beneficial to them. Basically, the opportunity for SpaceX is Starlink to disrupt the global networking market by effectively putting the internet into low Earth orbit is a big thing in this market at the moment. It's an unknown risk to the established operators. So anybody who's contemplating deploying 5G technology, ground Earth-based technology for networks, is going to be nervously looking at whether they can get this Starship into orbit, because I think quite quickly following that happening, Starlink will be basically running the internet from space. And that's very disruptive, but a huge opportunity. So
that's always the risk with tech. If someone comes along with a clever mousetrap, then yours is probably not worth very much. So
sure, yeah. Maybe I'm more focused on this than others, as you know. I'm a bit of an Elon fanboy, but yeah.
That's great. No, interesting, and sad to see another decent company laid low during the course of the year, because Spirent's definitely a good business. So okay, good. Thank you very much.